And he fights his way out of bounds, but the game clock goes down to 0, and that will be it as Northwest Missouri State loses to Pittsburgh State in the final game of the season, 23-7 for Northwest. They finish out the year at 6-5. Again, 23-7, the final score. The Gorillas over the Bearcats. Back with more on our postgame right after this timeout on the Bearcat Radio Network.
Yeah, it was brutal. A lot of risks with that. You know, his entire career, you know, being 66-22 or whatever his record was, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I was pretty close to Coach Wright. He was my position coach, my D coordinator, and obviously our head coach for the 4 years that I'd been with him up to that point. So, you know, I was pretty sad.
Whenever he came in and told us, it was still pretty shocking. We knew there was going to be a lot of uncertainty. Kind of weird when you have a full football team that doesn't know who's going to be the next coach.
That's a big change for someone, you know, in our shoes that have been here for a while for our program. So just knowing that we were going to have a whole new wave of coaches come through was a little intimidating at first.
The trajectory, the two-year, 3-year trend, and some other factors, it felt like that it had to happen then, right? Part of it is the program wasn't broken. We were not on the mat to keep from going there. We needed to do that then. So, but yeah, the decision itself was awful. I don't wish that upon anybody, but that's part of being director of athletics, especially at an institution like this. Anytime that you've been recruited somewhere to a certain head coach and a certain staff, and that change happens, you know, that's a tough spot. To make that change, then to ask them to trust me, who, you know, some of them probably don't even know my name, especially as an 18 to 22-year-old, when you've got people pulling you all over the place, right?
I knew I was going to stay here. The guys that are here for their 5th year, their 4th year, you know, a lot of the people in our program still, I couldn't leave those guys, and I said that day, and I meant it. So, you know, I knew it was going to be here. It was just a matter of, at the time, who was going to be the people, you know, leading us in that direction.
It was definitely tough not knowing what the future looked like, but at the same time I think it was kind of good for us because it allowed everyone to lean on to each other, knowing that we had each other's backs and that no matter who was the next coach, we were all going to just play together and play for each other.
A key core of our roster chose to trust in this place. More so than me. They chose to trust in this place. They chose to trust in this community, this campus, our leadership, our department, our support staffs, etc. And I believe it's going to pay off sooner rather than later. Take Northwest Missouri State out of it. Take, you know, college out of it. There are not very many head coach positions in the country. Period. Being a head coach is a deal, right? But huge opportunity. That comes with a lot of influence over young people.
Welcome everybody to the campus of Northwest Missouri State University. Special day in Bearcat athletics history as we formally introduce our 21st head coach in football history.
I have a short list, always have a short list, but hadn't reached out, didn't have any plans because I just felt like that was going to cloud my judgment. And so after it happened, it just started making phone calls. And then obviously once it hit the media, you know, my inbox filled up real fast.
So thank you to everyone who's with us today to celebrate what is going to be, I know, a very exciting next chapter for Northwest Missouri State University football.
You don't want to move so fast you make a mistake, obviously, but you got to move pretty quick, especially that time of year. Guys are graduating, guys are trying to make decisions on, you know, do I transfer or not? Do I want to come back for a 5th year or a 4th year? Whatever. A lot going into it that time of year and recruiting and many other factors. So I had to move quickly, swiftly, but at the same time slow down enough that you make good decisions and are setting the team and the next coach and the next staff up for success as best you can.
This moment is not just about hiring a football coach. It's about embracing someone who embodies the values, the traditions, and the vision that makes Northwest a special place.
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is you want the right person. So we've had failed searches, and I've went with some key positions in this department vacant for months because it's more about getting the right person. And so that's the number one goal, right? You got to make the right hire. That was the goal. The challenge is you don't want to miss somebody. People that you don't know, and then people that you do know. You owe it to the students, and you owe it to the program. You owe it to the alumni. You're flipping over every rock that you can to try to make sure that we are going in the right directions.
The foundation of our past has been built on more than just wins and championships, although we're certainly proud of the ones that we have accomplished.
You know, talked to a lot of guys that I feel like would have this would have been a stepping stone. This would have been hey, I'll take that job. We can win there. And in 3 or 4 years, I've got an opportunity to move up, D coordinator, offensive coordinator at a Division I, whatever. If that happens, awesome, right? But for that to be a goal going into it didn't set real well. But again, that's where Coach McMenamin, I think, was just a little bit different on, he wanted this job because it's this job.
It's built on a culture of excellence, of accountability, and of family. It's about teaching life lessons, both on the field and off the field, and creating legacy that our players can carry with them for the rest of their life. John McMenamin deeply understands that culture. He's not just a coach, he's a mentor, he's a leader, and he's someone who truly knows what it means to be a Bearcat.
When John's name hit my inbox, it was very intriguing immediately. Having him been a player here, been an athlete here, but not ever coached here, right? Kind of really rang a bell with me of somebody that cared deeply about this place because of his personal experience and growing up, right? Talking from my own experience on how much you change as a human from 18 to 22, 18 to 23, or whatever, 17 to 22, and how this place can change you, and does change you, and if you have success as well, that sort of thing. And then what he did after here coaching-wise.
As long as we continue to attract people who want to be here and want to be a part of this place and want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, we will continue to reap great rewards. As Aristotle said, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Nothing can better describe this place than that right there. Great people and a great place, but when you put it all together, we truly do some amazing things. I believe that. I believe as long as we continue with that focus, we will continue to develop young people and produce high-quality alumni who love this institution and appreciate the opportunity they get here, and they use this place as a launching pad for the future. And I do believe that.
I think I was really looking for some upbeat, some optimism, and somebody on the offensive side of the ball who's going to challenge us a little bit. No slight at all to Coach Wright at all, but there's a different mindset with offensive coaches and defensive coaches, and I just felt like that was the change that we needed to make. Also, I think was in my head as a criteria, although not a do or die, was somebody that had a deep knowledge of this program. He cared for the program, knew the program, wanted the job for all the right reasons.
So I am very excited and pleased to welcome back John McMenamin, his wife Andrea, and kids Jackson and Jessa as the 21st head football coach in Northwest Missouri State's history.
One shot, and this is a dream job. To me, if you're ever gonna, go swimming, you jump in the deep end, you don't toe dip. And if I'm gonna make a run at being a coach and being, I'm gonna be as prepared as I can be.
There wasn't much of the decision on my part. I probably had yes on my forehead.
And make sure that I get this job. Did I think I could get it? Absolutely. You kind of feel like you always got a shot at it, but shoot, this is the best job in Division II, so there's gonna be a ton of people that are, going for it, and you can't really worry about that, so you just prep yourself as best you can and go. And I knew a lot about it and how special this place is, so to me that was an easy part.
I can't tell you, I'm going to work very hard for this program. This is what family's about. These kids will all know that football is more than wins and losses with us and our staff. These coaches that we've hired that are here are communicators first. This is going to be about relationships.
I was a quarterback. I would be what you call a pocket quarterback. I think I finished my career with 4 yards rushing. I wouldn't be recruited today, as good as these athletes are and these players are. The game's changed so much. Threw it around the yard a lot and really liked that. Was blessed to have a lot of good receivers, and talented running backs, tight ends, all these guys around me. And then what was fun for me was the cerebral part, processing fast and thinking, and I got challenged here, and so that was fun, was to scheme up defenses and know how to attack them and be able to do it, because I didn't have the strongest arm, I wasn't the fastest, by any means, but I think I could think with the best of them.
Yeah, Johnny Mack as a player was an intelligent quarterback, had a great arm. Knew how to get the ball to his weapons, was a great leader, kind of one of those guys that the team would rally behind. just had a winning mindset, and that permeated throughout the whole team.
Obviously a very good player. I did intercept him one time, so that's my claim to fame. They were a good football team, great program, and he led the way.
I took pride in being a great leader and modeling myself, from that standpoint as far as winning the locker room. I think that's still the most important job of a quarterback is like you got to make sure that the team has your back. We had a great experience. We won 2 national championships, and that's fun. But what you probably remember the most is the relationships. When I got the job here and to get texts from, former teammates and guys you haven't talked with, it just never goes away. And that's what excites me and rejuvenates me is like, okay, this is what the staff I want to put together. This is what I want our players to experience is, that same blueprint really that, Mel Churchma put together. We're here to win ball games, but we're here to also invest in you and make sure you're a better person. And 20 years from now, we're still talking. We're still, have that bond because of the integrity and trust that we formed here. That's the fun part to me is kind of interweave that and learned a lot from my experience playing here of how to do that, and then also what it takes to win. There's a few non-negotiables, and I had to learn the hard way with that. There was I had to sit right down on the other side of this desk and have a tough conversation with Coach Churchma and say, where he's like, you better figure it out, basically. And I can't thank him enough, that staff enough, the university enough for really bringing me back because it is a special place, and we'll carry on a lot of those same traditions. I know I didn't have a traditional start to the coaching world. My daddy was a head high school coach for 30 years, and so I was going to take a different route because all my family were teachers and coaches, and so I was bound, determined to make some money and do a different career field, and we see how that's worked out. It pulled me back in, and I'm glad it did, but kind of started out in the corporate world for about 10 years, and then started a graduate assistant at the University of Nebraska in Omaha and fell in love with coaching. And I met my wife, Andrea, and when she asked me what I did when I met her, I was embarrassed to say I was 29 and quitting my job and going back to school, but luckily she stuck with me and has been my rock. And so we've kind of taken this football journey together and started a wonderful family. It's great to bring my family to a place that has such a special meaning to me and that preaches family, and to be able to practice what we preach is a pretty neat deal. So coaching's brought me here, and I'm excited to be here now. By far the most important part of this job is the group of guys you're working with that have to be great human beings, great people, and great teachers. Leading up to this job, you kind of try and line everybody up ahead of time. Be ready to say yes if I get the answer to get the job. And so when I get the job, then you're immediately on the phone. Hey, we have the job. I have the numbers. This is what it is. This is when you need to be here. And all these guys did, and they jumped in. Some of them didn't get paid. They just volunteering, for basically a month. Number one, when hiring a staff is you got to have loyal dudes, with you that, are going to ride for the brand, if you will, no matter what. So that was the first thing you look at, and then I've got to have some sort of relationship with them, some way, shape, or form. Just like recruiting that, you can count on these guys. They're going to be great teachers. They've got to be able to take what you're saying and send it to kids. And so they've got to be able to communicate, be good humans. Everybody wants recruiters, but it's relationships is where it starts, with that, and then that'll hand over to recruiting. So those were the top 2 or 3 things that I looked at. And, every number one choice that I had said yes.
Colin Prosser, offense coordinator, coach the offensive line. I've known Coach McMenamin since about 2013. We hung out at, conventions and clinics and things like that. Got to talk to him a little bit. Played golf with him a couple times. It was awesome, to get a phone call and maybe to be asked to be a part of something special that we have down here at Northwest. I was driving, so all of a sudden I found, the adrenaline went a little bit more, and all of a sudden I was going about 95. Had to slow down a little bit, so. Everyone is all in on Bearcat football. The guys that have laid the foundation, and now these guys here that are looking to continue on with their legacy and continue to build the tradition and, continue to be a national powerhouse. I think that's the most exciting thing is that, when you walk through that door every day to come to work, it's not just, what you can do, it's what everyone else has done before you. Coach Churchma, right? Coach Wright, all those guys that have played here, that rep the paw. I think that every day when you walk in is something special and something that, a standard that you've got to uphold.
Offensive line is by far the most important hire you can have, with that. And with him, it's a win-win because he's a phenomenal offensive line coach, offensive coordinator. He knows the offense in and out. We've all ran the same system from coaching together. And then he's a great recruiter. And you got to have that dog. He's one of them.
How y'all doing? I'm Mark Wright, coach with the receivers. So first he kind of like texted me. Honestly, when I saw Northwest wasn't extending Coach Rich Wright contract, I kind of was hoping Coach Mack had got this opportunity. So when he texted me, I kind of knew what it was about. But I was ecstatic. I was happy to get back into the college coaching profession and being with a guy that I know and trust and have a great relationship with, to be around great people. And I think looks out for me in my best interest. It was a no-brainer for me when he had extended the opportunity for me to join the staff. Just being around the right people at the right time could change your career, change your life, you know what I mean? And like I say, Coach Mack is a great guy, and I know he's going to have the right people, genuine people in this program, which we do have here. And then coming here and just saying, like, the community, is genuine people that care about each other, and the success. And then, like, another thing that kind of had me, like, ecstatic to be here once I got here was just seeing the success of programs across the board, with basketball, the success they have had recently with track. So, you're in a spot where sports is held to a certain standard, expectations and the pressure is there, and you love to be in that type of situation environment.
That dude was a no-brainer, and to come up here, and unfortunately it was a little colder when he got here, but he's another one that with the kids, he's just a great communicator. The kids will love him, and they'll play for him, and that's what you got to have, with that.
My name is Jake Wilrick. I am the special teams coordinator and the defensive backs coach. I played against Coach Mack when he was a coordinator at Midland. I was at Hastings. He was the coordinator at Central Missouri. I was at UNK. Just through all of that, different competing and being in the same coaching circles, we just kept track of each other, and obviously when he called, it was a no-brainer for me. My dad played here back in the late 60s, graduated in 1970, so he played here. My mom went to school here. Obviously they met here. My wife has 2 degrees from here. We just have a lot of history here. I've been away for 20 years now, but it was always the place that we looked to get back to. Obviously tradition is amazing. Obviously the family aspect of it, and I'm part of that. Once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat. That's me. I'm living that right now. All the resources are here. The resources are here to play and to compete at the highest level. So, why wouldn't you be excited about that?
He's a very, very, very smart human being. Does a great job with special teams. One that's never going to leave. No T's always going to be crossed, all I's will be dotted, just nothing's left a chance. And so I really appreciate that about him. I think he'll help the back end.
All right, my name's Roberto Davis. I'm the defensive line coach here at Northwest Missouri State. When I went to Wayne State in 2020, Coach Mack was actually the head coach there. He's the one that hired me on to coach with him. So really enjoyed that, and that's kind of what made that transition pretty smooth for me once he got hired here. He asked me to be the D-line coach. It was a no-brainer for me. I know he's a winner. I know what he's about, the kind of man he is, family-oriented guy, and that just it was a lot of positives for me to stay here and be a part of this. I've always wanted another opportunity to get a chance to coach with him. And when he offered it to me, a lot of excitement for us as a family. It was a no-brainer for us and a great opportunity, to see what kind of we can make of this thing. The thing that makes me excited about staying here is really the guys. The guys are what draw me into this place. Really, it's that family culture, that family atmosphere, and being here now going into year 5, I've built a lot of great relationships with our players, and for me, watching these guys, when those senior classes come, watching them going off on the highest possible note they can, is very important to me. So, making sure I do my job to the best of my ability, bring it every day, because you ask that out of these young men, we got to have that reciprocated with the work that we put in as coaches.
He's a guy, when he looks you in the eye and says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And he's another great human being that the kids will follow. And he's a great leader, and he's a tremendous talent. He's a great recruiter. He killed it during the recruiting season. His kids will play hard for him, and I can't wait to watch him keep growing. I'm excited that he said yes as well.
I'm Chad Boswick, defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. We had a conversation that he was, trying to get in on the job and be the head coach, and he was just asking, just basic questions about Northwest and how everything was like and things like that. And then by the end of the conversation, he had asked me if he gets the job, if I'd be interested in sticking around and being the defensive coordinator. And, that was a quick yes from me. Just the culture of this place, I played here. There's a lot of pride in that with me and the other coaches that have played here before. You know, we take a lot of pride in keeping Northwest at the top, and you know, and I've known John a long time, so just I know what type of man he is and type of person he is, and family's important and all those things, and those are things that are important to me, and so you know, I wanted to be a part of that.
There's a Bearcat, that's what it looks like. And now he gets his shot to call the defense, and was just tickled to death, you know, when you ask him, hey, would you like to call the defense, stay here, you know, and it's an instant yes. I mean, he got it out before I even asked it. It's like that dude's he's ready for a shot, and he'll do a great job, and he's another one that's just all in all the time. This is a job you want. You want pressure to win because expectations are there, and when there's expectations, resources are there. And when you have resources, that means you can use those and you can kind of build the program that you want to build. You're expected to win here, and the kids know that, the coaches know that, and so that goes without saying. I mean, you want to be at a spot where you're supposed to win, you know, and you have that. And I give the correlation, you know, it's like if I have a 6-shooter, you know, I want 6 bullets in that gun. And, you know, this is really the first spot I've been at that, you know, I'm walking into a gunfight with 6 bullets in my 6-shooter. You know, we really had to evaluate the roster. There's a handful of players that, you know, are always going to leave, but it's, okay, let's keep the kids that want to stay. You know, and that was one of the first messages. You know, I've started as a head coach with 50 guys in a room, and we rebuilt it up and have great seasons. Here, you know, there's 100, but so I know it can work and we can do it, but like I was like, just told them all, I'm like, you got any indecision, go. You know, we lost 10 kids, which was smaller than I thought, but it's still, you know, of those, you know, eight are starters. Lost a lot of production, but you know, there's a lot of guys that it's been fun now seeing them run around a little more. You know what? I think we're going to be able to replace those, but in December, you have no clue. You got to rely on Coach Bostwick, Coach Davis, what they say. So a lot of times you'll just say, okay, we got all these holes, we got to fill them. Let's just sign guys to sign them. And I've made that mistake before, and that was one thing I didn't want to make again. I'm like, we'll always be able to find guys, and it's not really the guys that you lose that hurt you. It's the ones that you take, you know, on scholarship or high that come in that aren't what you're looking for, you know, and they might beat you every day as opposed to once a year. So I'm big on that as far as our staff is, okay, we're going to hit the transfer portal. That's what we're going to spend these first 2 weeks on. But I said, you better know of them or coach with the coach that knows them so that there's some sort of relationship there, because we're not just going to take anybody. I don't care if they're Jerry Rice, you know, Reggie White, you know, or any of those guys, you know, that are that good. The character counts. You know, and I don't want to recruit baggage. We brought a good group in, and we went through those, and we had references on everybody. And what the great part is so far is, like, now that we've been able to start to work with them, and we won't know until you get through spring, but I think we hit on about all of them. You know, it's been really exciting to see them work and be like, okay, they fit in great. Kids are working their tails off. They've been accepted, and it's good for us to see. And for these coaches to understand that, like, you know, loyalty and that passion, that Bearcat DNA, that matters more than talent.
Like, as soon as I got my Xbox 360, like, it came with MW3. Mom, bro, please. Come on, Mom, let me play MW3, dude. My name's Reese Trammell. I play offensive line. I'm from Mustang, Oklahoma. I played baseball growing up, so, like, football wasn't something that came to me, like, naturally. Like, my parents always watched football. Like, football was big in our house, but they never, like, encouraged me to play football. And then 10th grade, I hit a big growth spurt, and I started to play a little bit more, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this. Family was always big to me. I always wanted to be close to my family. Like, I only grew up 30 minutes from UCO. So I started 8 games. I wouldn't change it any other way. Like, UCO is a big part of, like, who I am, how I am. Northwest has always been a strong team up front. Like, no matter how good or bad Northwest is, they're going to give you a fight for 60 minutes. Like, that was on my radar, like, off the rip. Because, I mean, Coach Joe Q, he's a storied strength coach, like, nationally. And then, really, the new coaching staff, like, I really bought it. I believe what they say. Especially when you're getting recruited, like, people blow smoke, like, people could be like, oh, you're going to do this, this, and this. They didn't tell me if I was going to play. They didn't tell me anything. They just said, we're going to make you a better football player, and you're going to be a better man, like, at the end of the day. And so I was like, all right, let's do that and win some football games, and I'm down. Sign me up. Northwest, where you want to be. It's like you're always at the top of the MIAA. Like, look at basketball, look at volleyball, look at anything. Whenever I took my visit here, like, I could just feel the energy, like, in the town, like, driving through, like, Bearcats everywhere. Like, Bearcat lanes, Bearcat Inn. Like, Bearcat everywhere. Like, you drive in on the interstate, it says Bearcat on the side of the road. You're not getting that anywhere else. It's a clean slate for everybody. Like, even the players returning, like, nobody has a leg up on anybody. It's just like a fresh start completely. And at some places, it's not like that. So Coach Mack and Coach Prosser, they are huge on simple, stupid. Like, they keep everything really simple. And They just let us go out there and play fast. And if you can play fast and know what you're doing, then you're going to be unstoppable. You're always going to have talent. Kansas City's right down the road. St. Louis isn't far. Iowa guys know how to get down. You're always going to have talent. It's Northwest. Go up and show the recruits the national championships, and they're sitting there licking their chops. So I first started playing video games whenever my dad came home with an Xbox 360. I was like, oh crap, we got an Xbox 360. And so it came with MW3, but my mom never let me play it. Like ever since then, I was like, all right, I need to play Call of Duty. Like I grew up watching FaZe. Like I grew up watching all the guys just hit trick shots, mess around on the game. It was really an outlet for a lot of people, because especially now, like everything's online. It's like an alley. Like you find friends, you can meet friends like from across the globe, or you can meet friends like in local lobbies. Like you can boot up online and you can be with somebody right on the street from you and you wouldn't know. So whenever you do get time between class, meals, lift, practice, I mean, it's always good to sit and unwind and play a couple games. Like right now I'm playing Call of Duty and I'm playing NCAA. You can have a bad day at practice, but you can dog the crap out of somebody on NCAA and you'll be fine. But it's really just like hitting the reset button, just trying to clear your head.
Recruiting was so much fun. I couldn't wait to say, okay, this is Coach McMenamin from Northwest Missouri State. Love what we saw of you on film. We'd like to have you come up, take a look at our place. And a lot of times with Division II, around, or if you're recruiting high-level kids, they're like, oh, it's a Division II school. Here's an indoor facility. Here's a weight room. Here's the beautiful campus. Here's our proximity to Kansas City, to St. Joe, to everything. And here's what we offer. This is our stadium, okay? And on the stadium, it's okay. Runners-up 4 years in a row, national champions 6 times, conference champions. I mean, all that's proven. It's there. So kids step on campus. It's not a normal Division II campus. Perception doesn't quite match reality. Now that's changed. Okay, reality's different here. This is special. Then as coaches, okay, then we got to sell ourselves. Okay, we got to develop that relationship with those recruits, and boy, that's the easy part. Recruiting high school kids as a new coach here was like fishing with dynamite, man. It was awesome. I was so excited. It was exactly, what I had hoped it'd be, what I'd always thought it'd be, and we got into some doors that I might not have gotten into before, because of that, just because of the Paul. I couldn't imagine recruiting going any better. I'm biased, obviously, with it, but our guys did great, and being able to recruit here and hit Kansas City and Iowa and Arkansas and Missouri and Kansas, all these closed schools and have such a high success rate was very promising. Again, with that transfer class, a tremendous group. They're going to really help us. And then the freshmen, a little bit TBD, with that, as far as how they're going to be until they get here and they mature and grow. But as far as like the length and the metrics that we signed, they have it all. I was really excited. I know we didn't settle on anybody to do that. The mistakes I've made in the past, say, okay, well, we need 5 linemen, we only got 3, find 2 more. Like, we're not going to do that. We're only going to take guys that are above, the line of demarcation, if you will, for Bearcat DNA. There's a certain set of, steps that are like non-negotiable that we have to take, and some things that just are mandatory. And standard's a popular word thrown around today, but it's in culture, but it's like, it's just a way of life. What I call the Bearcat DNA, and it's just what we have to do to get there because it's done before and it's proven over and over again.
I think there's an exciting new age coming. Just talking to our student athletes, like it's new and it's fresh, and it's got a different feel to it in a positive way. So I'm excited. I hope everyone else is as excited as I am and as the football staff are, and the players too. It's a new era. It's got to be, right. Anytime you have a leadership change of that level, it's going to have a different vibe on the program. And I feel like it's going in the right direction, and it's going to be exciting to see the new version of the Bearcats.
Alumni from Northwest they're fanatical about the Bearcats, and that's a great thing. And more so than on most places. And you go to North Kansas City, and the paw's everywhere. You go to Omaha, the paw's everywhere. You go to Des Moines, same thing. And it's just that, people just are really proud of going to school here, and that's great to see. And like I said, that there is that emphasis on once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat, and you see it all over the place.
There's going to be a lot more wins. I firmly believe that. All the guys that came back, they came back for a reason, and they believe the same thing. We're going to score a lot of points on offense. We're going to have a super physical defense and a defense that teams don't want to face.
Knowing that he's been through this stuff, he knows what Maryville is like. You can tell he has great support from the community, which I think is really cool. Shows his kind of character. Obviously, he's been here when the team was really good, so he knows what it takes to win, and hopefully he'll be able to coach that over to us.
I hope they're ready to win some games, because I'm ready. I don't like losing. Bearcat Nation, let's go.
You know, every night I take the long way home because I love seeing the paw. Like, you know, when you late at night, you look out that window and the paw is lit up on the stadium. You know, it's like, to me, that's like a, you know, Batman had his signal that, you know, shine in the sky when he needed to be called. And like right now, that's why I tell our guys, like, that paw is lit at night. You drive by the Hughes, that paw is lit at night. It's like, Northwest football needs you guys. It just symbolizes what being a Bearcat is. It's there. It's just cool to see that, and how proud I am to be a part of it, and the previous coaches that have been here, the previous players. That's what that paw means to everybody. And so to see those, you know, you're going to do everything you can to not let them down. There won't be one coaching staff that outworks us, and we'll do everything we can, you know, to make sure that our team fits in this community, number one, you know, are good people, and then there's a great product. We're not going to win every game. You know, I hope we all do. But because we have a process in that takes care of it, that process will dictate how much we win, and it's going to happen a lot.